something on my face.
Yeah,
I walked down. I was like, no, yeah, you did. No. Yeah, I was thinking, then I got done seeing it. And I was and I looked down at her.
Where are you?
Here. Dave.
I know, I saw your flowers shake the whole time.
Yeah, yeah.
okay. You two are in this. Yeah, let me hold it together. We're not.
Oh, what if we do they kind of curve around here?
No, just where the end of it.
Be a good coffee.
As your mom was saying in the girls.
Yes, we may. Hi, Mark. Did you meet Mark? No, I haven't met Mark. Hi, Mark. We're glad you came. Yeah. Glad you came.
This is Jan.
How are you?
My husband Richard?
I did. Nice to meet you.
His first time in Silveryville, I always heard the original. Oh, yeah, sure.
This is Char's sister, Christy.
Let's see what Billy's for.
Did you get Jerry and I upstairs?
That's great. Yeah.
My thing is falling off.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah.
He's not really officially married.
Out here on the video.
Until I know that he just, you know,
Like they do it.
Focusing on Shannon.
by the time he gets there, if you don't make it up within 10 days,
You did a great job.
I just wanted to say that's the first time I've
I'm
heard
not
you
making
sing.
that wedding to nail this thing because I'm so afraid he's not going to pay about it.
Yeah, the wedding, the license.
Yeah.
That was you pulling the
Right? It was an Ohio license because it was an Ohio wedding.
Oh, that was you? I thought that was Julia.
Yeah, that's right. Isn't there something?
It does look like one of these
Go fishing in the morning.
the thing with November, yeah. And so,
Hey, I'll drive the IRA collar, but we'll come next time.
Yeah.
So it's not worth it. Just drive home. Yeah. No, we're gonna drive home. Let's drive. You can stop by our house and pick them up. Yeah. Yeah, we can do that. Good, I get to drive back.
Because we're going to have outside our house too. Let's forget it. Hey, why don't you just forget that picture? We're going to that house in my house. Yeah.
It's more comfortable. You go for comfort. Tom, good to see you.
Where's that girl?
It's in.
Where'd you get one? Yeah, we're going to graduate. Don't spin out now, okay?
Dave, is there good insurance on that car? Dave, is there good insurance on that car? I found him. What was he in the house taking a break?
No, I was charging the battery. We have 2 batteries, but the other one wasn't with us.
Morning. Good afternoon, Hilda.
Good afternoon, George. It's time you got up. About time you got up.
Okay, why don't you just have to get the whole quick purchase sale.
You're taking pictures of the table this day. Are you going to take pictures of the table? Why are you serious?
Yeah.
Well, during the toast, we give back some.
Sing us a song.
That's all. You're the point now. You got all the good formal shots, you know. I got one. They took it away from me. They recognized it right away. I wasn't quick enough. I had to read the instructions on how to get it open. Too late. You got it.
Okay.
Does everybody have a wine glass or something to toast with? If you don't, would you please raise your hand? Everybody does? And we'll have the toast at this time. The best man, Dave Smiley, will be toasting the bride and groom.
They should stand up.
I'd like to welcome you all here and thank you for coming. And I'd like to just tell a little story about John and his youth. And the other day, I was talking to my mom about John and his wedding and everything, and she told me a little story about John when he was a child. When we lived back in California, and we had a couple old Dutch aunts that were probably 75, 80 years old, and neither of them had ever been married. And John asked one time, "Mom, why do you think Aunt Sade and Aunt Ann never got married?" And my mom said, "Well, I guess they never really found the right person." And John thought about this for a while and just said, "Well, they were probably just scared." But all kidding aside, the whole marriage business is a pretty scary ordeal. And I mean, there's always, but seriously, there's always the question: is he or she the right person? Am I doing the right thing? Are we gonna like each other as much in 10 years as we do now? And well, I think one of the why I also like the story is it also shows my brother one of the traits I like best about him, and that is he has a keen sensitivity to how other people are feeling at the time, even if they're not expressing what they actually want to express. And I also see this in Julia. And I think that's one of the reasons that they get along so well. And I think because of this, we can confidently wish them long and fulfilling marriage. And so I'd like everybody to raise a glass and toast to John and Julia's new life as one.
We're gonna do our own click. Click.
My name is Tom Enema. I'm serving as MC here at the reception, and it's my privilege to introduce the head table to you. But before we do that, when John told me he would like me to be the MC, I told my mother, and my mother said, "Can you really do that, Tom? Aren't you going to be kind of scared?" So if I could ask your indulgence, I'd like to take your picture while you're all smiling and waving at me, having a good time. So, this is for my mom. Please, indulge me. Thank you. One more time over here. Oh, you've made one mother very proud. Thank you. All right. I guess we'd like to start with the Hines family. Would you please stand up? Here we have Willie and Mariana Hines and their son Trey. Is Trey up there? No. Trey's around here somewhere. Mariana was matron of honor and Willie was an usher and Trey was the ring bearer. And they got into the wedding party I guess, on the family plan. Willie is, hello, I'm here. Willie is, they live in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Willie works as a manager at Kroger Food Stores. And Mariana's a mother, I understand, full time. I'll keep you busy. While we have Andrea Bauman, would you please stand up with your friend there? Andrea was a bridesmaid and young sister of Julia. And she currently lives on, get this, Minorca Island in the Mediterranean Sea. Wow, a little bit of a trip to come back. Where she's a specialist, communication specialist in the United States Air Force. Her friend here is Kurt Koch, and he resides here in Willard, where he is employed as a supervisor with R.R. Donnelly & Sons. Thank you very much. Paula Bauman and her friend Billy, would you please stand? Paula was also a bridesmaid and was a very good soloist. She's the youngest sister to Julia. She lives here in town and next year is going to just finish her junior year, going to get her senior year next year at Willard High School. Billy here is a friend of Paula's and I understand it's going to be your senior year next year and that you're quite a football star. Have you been talking with Bo Shem about that? Ohio State. I heard you were better than that. Thank you very much. Martha Mall and her friend, would you please stand right now? Martha was a bridesmaid and is a lifelong friend of Julia's. As a matter of fact, she just lives right next door here. Martha is currently living in Grand Rapids where she works as a nurse at Blodgett Hospital while also pursuing an advanced degree in nursing from the University of Michigan. Isn't that great? In her spare time, she's friends with this man, Mike Zietze. And Mike Zietze works as a credit manager for Benirden Produce & Sons. Now, Benirden & Sons Produce. And rumor has it that their biggest conflict they have is that Martha has poor credit rating and it's been a slow conversion to make her a Wolverine. Natalie Ehrman and your husband, would you please stand?
My husband's over there.
There he is, he's way back in the corner, very good. Natalie is a cousin to Julia, and the man sitting back there is Mark, I understand. Both currently live here in Sawyerville, where Natalie is a nursing supervisor at Quality Care Rest Home, and Mark is a carpenter. Thank you. Paul and Susan Howard, please stand. Sue is John's sister. That would make Paul his brother-in-law. They're both married. Paul was an usher, Sue a bridesmaid, and they have a son, Stephen, who's around here somewhere, I guess. Sue works at Calvin Christian as a junior high school teacher, and Paul works at Harco Graphics as a sales representative. Thank you. He has no friends, so he'll just stay here. Pete was a groomsman, and Pete has been a close friend of John since high school, and also works with John as a financial consultant at Primus Financial Services. Pete is known around Grand Rapids for his long drives, his nice car, and his hair, which is always in place. By the way, I'm known for all the same things, but not to the same degree. Sam and Barb, would you please stand? Sam was a groomsman. Sam and Barb both have been friends of John since high school. And Sam, that's it, I don't know, face to God. Sam was a roommate until January with John's, and then decided he wanted to room with Barb, and they did it on the up and up. They got married January 2, wasn't it? 2. Thank you very much. And by the way, Sam is employed at Lions Transportation as a sales representative, and Barb is a recreational therapist at Mary Free Bed Hospital. David Smiley. David is John's brother, has been since birth. David recently returned from Spain, where he killed a language requirement for Calvin College by spending a semester abroad. And in the fall is entering what he hopes to be his last year of college, where he's majoring in sociology and philosophy. Quite a deep man. Keep your distance, he'll analyze you up and down, and it's not pretty. But, thanks, Dave. John and Diane, would you please stand? Carefully. John was a groomsman and has been a close friend of John since high school as well. And John's friend here is also his fiancée. They hope to be married in September. And John was just telling me not too long ago that you're all a very fun bunch, and he'd like you to show up in September at his wedding as well, because this worked out really well. That's John. John resides in Grand Rapids, where he's a document analyst for Compulent Corporation, and Diane is a floral designer for Eastern Floral. David Glassauer, alias Guy Hoppers. Dave has been a close friend of John's since grade school. Those two were known around Oakdale Christian as Little Terrors. Matter of fact, I have a little story I want to share with you. One time, both John and Dave were sent to the principal's office, a trip they made quite frequently, to be punished. This time, the principal was going to instill in John and Dave God's omniscience and omnipresence. First, he set John out in the hall, and he called Dave into his office. While Dave was in the office, he set Dave down in a chair and said to him, "Where's God?" Dave started to quiver a little bit and made him uneasy, and the principal thought, good, I'll really drive the point home one more time. "Where's God?" Just then, Dave shot out, ran in the hall, grabbed John's hand, and ran out to the schoolyard and said, "They've lost God, and they're trying to blame it on us." That's not true, I made that up. Dave works at Zunderman Corporation, where he's an accountant manager, / heavy responsibility. And last but not least, Mr. Greg Vandermeulen. The only one who didn't bother to shave. Greg was a roommate of John's at college, where they, along with a bunch of others, lived in a house of horrors. I went there and visited him there a couple times. Greg currently lives in Denver, where he's an insurance billing department with Bethesda Christian Hospital.
Thank you, Greg.
At this time, I'd like to introduce a Hope graduate, and I will have a small gift for her in just a second. She's a graduate of Hope and presently director of Weston Public Library near Bowling Green, Ohio. That's where we are. Her name is Eileen Doyle Flower. Would you please give her a big hand?
Traditional jack tail. Many of you have heard of Jack and the Beanstalk, yes? Well, this is a jack tail where Jack's not quite so bright, and it's called Obedient Jack. Way back in the hill country, there was a boy named Jack, and he lived with his mama in a ramshackle shack. And one day, Matt's mama said to him, "Boy, you're getting way too big, and I can't feed you anymore. So you're gonna go out and have to get yourselves a job."
"Okay, mother, I'll do what you say."
So Jack went out and he got himself hired to a farmer. And at the end of the day, the farmer paid him with a penny. Well, Jack had never had a penny before. So he put the penny in his hand and he closed his hand tight and went lolloping on home. Well, somewhere along the way, Jack lost his penny. And when he got home, his mama said, "Jack, you silly boy, you ain't got the sense you was born with. You should have known to put the penny in your pocket." "Oh, mother, I'm so sorry. I'll do what you say next time." Well, the next day, Jack was hired by a dairyman, and at the end of the day's work, paid him with a quart of milk in a glass jar, no lid. And remembering what his mother told him to do, Jack took that quart of milk and shoved it down in his pocket and went walking on home. Well, by the time he got home, his pants were all wet and there wasn't much left but the glass bottle itself. And his mama said, Jack, you silly boy, you ain't got the sense you was born with. You should have known to carry the bottle on your head. Oh, Mother, I'm so sorry. I'll do what you say next time. Well, the next day, Jack was hired by that same dairyman who paid him with a pound of butter. And at the end of the day, Jack took that butter, he put that butter on his head, he put his hat over his head. It was a hot day. And by the time Jack got home, he had butter all running down his face. And he walked in the house and his mother said, Jack, you silly boy, you ain't got the sense you was born with. You should have known to wrap it in cool leaves and dip it in the well and carry it home in your hands. Oh, Mother, I'm so sorry. I'll do what you say next time. Well, the next day, Jack was hired by a baker, and at the end of the day, the baker gave him a cat. But when Jack tried to wrap the cat in the cool leaves and dip it in the well, that cat hissed and spat and scratched something awful, and it came home all bloody. And his mama said, Jack, 4 days' work and nothing to show for it. You should have known to tie a rope around its neck and lean it home behind you. Oh, Mother, I'm so sorry. I'll do what you say next time. Well, the next day, Jack was hired by a butcher, and at the end of the day, he paid him with a beautiful bone-in ham. Remembering what his mama told him, Jack took that rope, wrapped it around that ham, and started dragging it home through the dirt. Unfortunately, there was a pack of hungry dogs nearby, and when Jack got home, he was left with a rope about this big. And his mama said, Jack, you silly boy, you ain't got the sense you was born with. You should have known to carry it up on your shoulder. Well, the next day, Jack went out and couldn't find any work in his own town. And so he went to the next town over and was hired by a stableman. And after an entire week's work at the stable, the man paid him with a donkey. Remembering what his mother told him, Jack took that donkey and hoisted it up on his back. And he went walking through town. Now, something I didn't tell you is that in this town there was a merchant, a wealthy merchant, and he had a daughter. Now, his daughter could never speak. They never laughed, and they weren't quite sure if she could hear. But he had promised half of all his wealth to the man who would make his daughter laugh and her hand in marriage. Well, here comes Jack with that donkey on his back, just a-waddling through town with that donkey hee-hawing and braying and kicking something off. And there was the girl leaning out her window, just watching the world go by. And when she saw Jack, she started to giggle. And then she started to laugh. And she said, Father, Father, come, you've got to see this. And his father came to the window and he said, son, you put that donkey down and you tie him up and you come on in my house. And he explained to Jack what he had promised. And he asked Jack if he'd like to marry his daughter. He said, gosh, she's real pretty, sure. So Jack's mother came, and her father and he got along so well that she lived there too. And she was glad indeed that her son was always obedient to Jack. I went to his room in the middle of the night, crept through the doorway and